Per On 3, USC and Gary Patterson have been in communication regarding their opening for defensive coordinator. This is it. This is it. The TCU legend could very well be back. The Hall of Famer in college football, a guy who's been out of the game for 3 years, and all he's done, I've been in his home office, all he's done is just written out notes on every game in the country on these legal pads. He's got 1 million legal pads. Whether it's a thought he had, he'll write it down on a legal pad. X's and O's, Jimmy's and Joe's, legal pad. You are looking at, I don't think, there have been a couple USC fans I've seen tweet out like, oh, why would we do this? He's been out of the game. Are you kidding? I've had the privilege the last 4 months to share a desk with Coach Patterson. Got to enjoy with him and his wife, Kelsey, his celebration to entering the College Football Hall of Fame last week in downtown Fort Worth. And this is the kind of guy that you meet him for the first time and you say, hi, Coach Patterson, how are you today? And he'll say, there's slot corner, RPO. Where's the slot corner play? Where are we looking on an RPO? It's facing the RPO. What coverage are we in? Like that's how his brain's wired. That's how he works. Like, hey, Coach, took my dog on a walk today. He's like, but if they're in cover 4, where's the tight end? Where's the tight end? If we're in cover 4, who's got assignment on their tight end? Like, Coach, I told you I walked my dog this morning. It was a nice day. A football brain, a football mind, a guy who went to TCU when TCU's head coach had been pulled away by Alabama. And a lot of folks doubted that this assistant could come in at mid-major ranks at the time and win. He outclassed North Texas, which there was a time where TCU was North Texas. It's just like, yeah, that's that little football team in DFW. TCU outclassed SMU, worked their way into the Big 12, into a power conference, much to the chagrin of a Texas, of an Oklahoma. Worked their way as a program to the forefront of college football to eventually a national championship game with a roster that Gary Patterson helped construct. This is a guy who went to a school where winning did not have to be paramount, where they could have been North Texas. And in spite of that said, not only are we going to win, we're going to win the Rose Bowl. We're going to beat Wisconsin, one of the most dominant teams of the season in the Rose Bowl. TCU in a college football playoff format, they would have made the playoff that year in a 4-team field, a 12-team field, and they probably would have won the national championship. A guy who churned out NFL talent after NFL talent, from LaDainian Tomlinson to Andy Dalton. That guy, that Gary Patterson, could be your defensive coordinator. This is the steal of the year. I was rooting for the opportunity of him to be the head coach of North Texas, somewhere close to Fort Worth. He's got a home in Fort Worth. Beautiful place. And it's the place he calls home. No reason to leave at this point. Guy's 65. He's like, hey, I'm good. I'm having a really fun time with my dogs. Like, I don't need to move somewhere full time, but I'd love to go back and coach. He told me our first couple of weeks working together, I said, Coach, you talk about football like a guy who's still got it. You've got the gleam in your eye. This isn't the process, NIL portal, just tore me up too much. I'm not sure if I could go back. I'm not sure if I still have that spark. This is not that guy. Plenty of coaches are retiring and saying that, and I understand it from their standpoint too. Like I get it. It's changed so much, it's hard to adapt. This is a guy whose X's and O's don't need to adapt. He's the grandfather of the 4-2-5 defense. So I asked him a couple weeks into our show, like, hey, would you go back? Would I go back? Well, the opportunity would have to be right, but of course, he's 19 wins away from 200. So, he said, I've been off for 3 years, but I've got that. I've got that itch. I've got football inside of me. He also said, jokingly, that his wife, Kelsey, is ready for him to have a new hobby. After 3 years, the golf thing's been fun. The hanging around the house has been fun. Taking a couple years off and taking it easy has been fun. But she said she's ready. She told him, it's his joke, that she's ready for him to get back into football, and he wants to get back into football. The issue for Lincoln Riley in taking a Big 12 legend, TCU legend, arguably the best head coach in the Big 12 the last 15 years, that's probably Gary Patterson. You're going to be hard-pressed to find somebody else at that level of success in the last 15 years. Maybe Mike Gundy, and both of those guys were wrongfully let go. Instead of building infrastructure around these legendary coaches, infrastructure around Hall of Fame coaches, the university said, we don't need you anymore. Guys are like, hey, but we helped build this thing. Like, this is we did this. Like, yeah, we don't care. Sorry, it's time for the new shiny thing. We want the new thing. We want somebody else's fresh voice. He was subject to that and is still the best head coach of the Big 12 the last 15 years. Gary Patterson The defensive coordinator for Lincoln Riley is a dangerous, very dangerous concoction. And I'm surprised there has not been a Big 12 team like a Baylor or a team in Texas like a North Texas that has just called and said, hey, we don't need you to be an analyst. We don't need you to be a consultant. We need you to coach our football team. Baylor could use Gary Patterson. How cool would that be if, the guy, look, he eats, sleeps, breathes TCU. To this day, even though they let him go wrongfully, he is the TCU Horned Frog and is celebrated and worshipped in Fort Worth as he should be. He transformed Fort Worth, not just TCU, but Fort Worth. Their admissions, the GDP, everything ran through Gary Patterson. So yes, it'd be a little funky if he said Baylor, but wants to win. And I, as a Baylor alum, want Baylor to win. I want somebody to win. It's stunning to me that the first school to jump on this would be USC. But Lincoln Riley's very smart in doing that. He's getting an X's and O's guys. He's getting an X's and O's guy who can walk in and say, okay, who do you have for me from the transfer portal? Here's my wish list. Here's what we're going to do. Here's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to coach football. He said to me a few times now, there's a difference. Some people meet him for the first time, like, oh, he's nice. There's a difference between Coach P, the guy you see on TV screaming and hollering, Coach P, and Gary. Distinct difference. Coach P is loud and has to do what he has to do to win when it comes to coaching his teams. Gary is salt of the earth. Nicest guy in the world. Kind of guy you want to get a PBR with, have a Miller Lite with, a Coors, sit on the back porch, talk about football. He'll pull his guitar out, play a few songs. But he's going to walk into USC. That switch is going to flip. And if this works out, and I hope it does, if this works out, he's going to take that defense and do things that Lincoln Riley has never seen on that side of the ball. Problem, this is tough. We should all be saying a prayer for Gary Patterson if he's coaching at USC next season. Not because he can't do it, and he can, and not because he can't succeed, but because they are stacked. The cards are stacked heavily against the Trojans. In their schedule, they will go to Indiana. Ooh. They'll go to Penn State, Matt Campbell, which Gary's coached against Matt Campbell before. They will host Ohio State. They'll host Oregon. And they'll host Washington. That is brutal. When there is a lot of angst for that fan base, they want to win now. They need to win now. Lincoln has the cards stacked against him with this schedule. But if there's a guy, I sat with him at a restaurant 2 weeks ago. I said, Coach, what's their schedule look like next year? Flying all around the country. Like they play at Rutgers next year. I knew. I was like, you're flying all around the country. What's your schedule like? It's got to be brutal flights. He's like, I don't know. Let's look it up. He did the old guy thing. Hey, Siri, what's the USC football schedule? And I was like, hey, the people are listening. Don't do that. There could be sources all around us. Looked it up. He read those out and he was like, ooh, yeah, let's go. Let's compete. I read that and I think I'm staying away. I don't know if I can do all that. I don't know if I can do that mess. Gary Patterson, the consummate football coach, the genius, the X's and O's guru, a guy who took TCU to heights that they'd never seen before and is now in the College Football Playoff Hall of Fame. Less than 20 wins short of 300, make it 200 as a head coach in his career. That guy, he's a fierce competitor. He'll take that schedule and he'll win. We've talked a little bit here and there about the opening, and he's a football guy, man. If he's back on the sidelines next season in college football, it is dangerous for anyone and everyone involved against him. If you don't think he can win, you don't know Gary Patterson. You don't know the way that guy coaches defense. He's going to surprise a lot of people at USC next year. I believe in it. I see it coming. Great guy. Would be a great hire for Lincoln Riley. And I've tried to leave it be. I'm not the kind of guy who's like, I have inside information. I'm on the inside, But in the conversations that we have had loosely about it, where I've tried to ask very simple, light questions, you can tell how excited he is. The fire that's still there about college football. And he's handled the process in an incredible way in the midst of hosting a TV show on Amazon and in the midst of trying to figure out what it's like to be a Hall of Famer. The guy is as pro as it gets. It's pro as it gets. Speaking of that, Jacob Rodriguez, another pro, joins Locked On Big 12, Amazon Fire TV's college football kickoff. When we come back, this is Locked On Big 12. Hey, today's show is brought to you by TurboTax. TurboTax is exactly what I know. Oh, I know it's January. Like, tax season? Tax season, man. but it doesn't have to take over your life. This year, TurboTax is making it easier than ever to just hand things to them and go about your day. TurboTax full service, you can have your taxes done for you by a trusted local expert, start to finish, without the stress or guesswork. Instead of spending hours trying to figure out forms, you can meet with a local TurboTax expert in person or connect online. Handle everything. W-2s, self-employment forms, and you get every deduction. Upload your documents. Go about your day. Get updates right in the TurboTax app. For a limited time, you can have your taxes done by TurboTax for just $150 all in. If a TurboTax expert didn't file for you last year, just file by February 28th. Take taxes off your plate and get back to your life. Visit TurboTax.com/local to book your appointment today with TurboTax.